Hi guys, welcome back. Before we get started painting our project, we need to talk about watercolors first. So this is watercolors. Mine say Crayola, yours I believe are Prang. It's the same type of thing. So inside your watercolor palette you have black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and brown. We are going to avoid the black and the brown because they look really icky when they get on your paper. So you should have a brush in your palette. You have those colors. When you are done with these colors, you need to let your entire watercolor palette dry. So don't close it up and stick it somewhere. Leave it open so that it can air out and dry. Otherwise you end up with moldy paint, and moldy paint does not work very well. Now once you have totally used up the entire well of color, let me know. I have another set of watercolors. I have replacement watercolors. And the cool thing about these is we just pop it right out and I can give you a new one. So if you finish up all your red, so this entire thing is totally gone. You just need to let your teacher know and let your teacher tell me, or tell me in office hours, or if you figured out your email me. You can even dojo message me. Whatever way you can, you're gonna let me know that you need another color, and I will give you one of the other colors. So the only other thing I do need to know is your watercolors circle or ovals like these, or are you squares? Because that makes a difference, because I have two different types of refills. I have square refills and I have oval refills. So watercolors. Watercolors are just dry paint. So they are not wet. That's where they call watercolor, because you have to add water. So as you can see, I have just a little bit of water here in my cup. My cup is green, so water looks green. You only need maybe about 1 inch to 2 inches of water in your cup. You don't need the whole cup filled with water, because we're just going to use a little bit. Now, in front of you, you should have a piece of scratch paper, please, because you're going to play around with watercolors before you paint your project. So you're going to take your watercolor. You're going to stick your watercolor brush in your water, swirl it around a couple of times, and then you're going to pull it out. Do not go tap, 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 tap against the edge of your cup. That takes all the water off your brush, which means you can't activate your paint. Water needs to go onto your paint before your paint can go anywhere. So dip your water or your brush in your water, swirl it around a few times, let the edge just kind of drip off, and then I'm going to start with blue. I'm going to swirl 1, 2, 3 times in my blue. That's enough paint on here for me to go ahead and paint. So paint just a quick swoosh, squiggle. Now this is where lots of paint is. This is where little paint is. If you want that dark color, you're going to not dip your brush yet, but you can swirl 1, 2 more times, and you can get that darker color, and you can start to spread that out on your paper. Now, once your paper absorbs that water, you're going to notice you're going to get a couple of wrinkles. It's okay. We can flatten paper out, but the drier your brush gets, the less paint you get. So see how it's starting to get streaky? That means I need more water on my brush. So I'm going to take and I'm just going to dip. I'm not going to swirl, I'm just going to dip. And then I can come back and I can continue to paint a little bit. Now notice this is a lot lighter than this one. It's because I started to pull out from this. You can pull and move your watercolor. So I'm moving my watercolor down. Now if I wanted to start a new section, I can start painting with just that light little bit. Or if I want to go back and get more paint, I dip. And then swirl 1 to 2 times. 1, 2, 3 times. And now I can paint with that dark again. If I want to, spread that dark out, I use more the side of my brush, not so much the tip. So I can take the side of my brush and spread it out. Now, say I want to switch colors. I'm going to stick my paintbrush in and I'm going to swirl it around, swirl, 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 swirl. I'm going to get a paper towel. have my paper towel next to me. And then I'm going to paint on my paper towel. See how there is no color on my paper towel? That's a good thing. That means I got all the paint off my brush. So now say I want to use a different color. Let's do orange. So I've got swirl, swirl, swirl on my brush. I've got some water. I'm just going to let it drip a little bit. And then I'm going to do 3 times in my orange. 1, 2, 3. Now I can take my orange. And if I want to do a big area, I can lay it sideways and start to paint. Now if you notice, I have an automatic gradation. A gradation is where it goes from light to dark. And I painted that simply because my tip was where the paint was. And the base where it goes into my brush was not where the paint was. So if I wanted to do that some more, I can do 1, 2, 3 swirls. And I can do the same thing again. Now, this one didn't quite drag as much as I wanted it to, so I can drag it over a little bit. Say I want to make it more solid, I can come in and I can pull that color down, move that color around. I'm noticing my paintbrush is getting a little bit dry because I'm starting to get a little bit more streaks. So I dip once, and then I can start adding a little bit more. If you add too much water to your paper, it starts to get this puddle look. Puddling is not good. Puddling means your paper is not going to last. So be careful that you are not getting too much water on your project. If you're getting too much water, you can always pull that water down along with that color and play around with that. Okay guys, it's time to paint our project. I'll see you in the next video.